Welcome back inside Gillette Stadium, everybody. My name is Mike Petraglia, joined again by Ryan Hannable, Patriots expert writer for WEEI.com. You have ascended from just writer to expert writer because I think you do a fabulous job with your 10 fun facts on Saturday, looking ahead to the upcoming game, Ryan. Let's get to some business first and foremost. Two players who have been on PUP NFI list, specifically the PUP, are not coming back because the deadline has passed. Sebastian Vollmer and Trey Jackson, a pair of offensive linemen. One player, Jackson, a second-year guard out of Florida State, figures to certainly be part of the Patriots' plans going forward. But Sebastian Vollmer is 32. He's a free agent this offseason. What do you think is in his future with the Patriots?
It's an interesting case. I mean, I think before the season, when we sort of knew that he probably wasn't going to return this year, a lot of people said that he, might have played his last down with the Patriots. But then I think maybe with the year Marcus Cannon's had, he's going to want a lot of money in the offseason, and he's a free agent too, and I don't think the Patriots are going to go that high with a guy like Marcus Cannon, so maybe that benefits Sebastian Vollmer. He can come back for a 1 or 2 year deal and maybe a lower rate than he might have gone before the injury. So if he is healthy, I think he might be in the Patriots' plans, maybe more so than he was at the start of the year, but again, it's certainly up in the air right now.
Okay, Sebastian Vollmer had off-season, or actually summer shoulder surgery. That's why he was on PUP and really could never get back to 100%. A lot of people thought he would immediately go to IR. He did not. The Patriots gave him every possible chance to try and fight his way back. But Trey Jackson, a knee issue, he's a different case altogether. But we're going back to your point about the free agency and the money and what could be allotted to different free agents. There's been so much talk on the defensive side of the ball, but the offensive side of the ball, the offensive line, is certainly something that I think merits a lot of consideration because the Patriots are going to have more money this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the offensive side of the ball, it's not only Sebastian Vollmer, Marcus Cannon, but then also LeGarrette Blount, too. So there's some – it's not just, like you said, it's not all about the defense. And I think we've sort of seen this year how important it is for the offensive line to get back to what they were, a couple of years ago, which I think they've had. So, it's important to keep that group together, and maybe, you replace Marcus Cannon with Sebastian Vollmer. But I think that does need to be a priority in the offseason to protect Tom Brady, especially with another year of him getting older.
What about speculation that the Patriots have so much money, and they're going to have a good deal of money available to them? They throw some money at Jimmy Garoppolo to keep Garoppolo and Brady together.
That's definitely a thought, too. I think your point's a good one. They're going to probably have one of the most, the most money to spend this offseason, and I think we've seen so far this year that I think a lot of that's probably going to go to Dante Hightower just because he's the only guy left, But also, to your point, maybe they try to extend Jimmy Garoppolo. Also, Malcolm Butler is a restricted free agent. Maybe they throw some money his way. So there are guys that aren't necessarily unrestricted free agents that could get money because of just how much the Patriots have.
All right, let's turn to Rob Gronkowski. Diana Rossini of ESPN reports that Rob Gronkowski will not play this weekend against the New York Jets. Again, another situation, I think, going into it. Patriots should not need him. They didn't need him against the San Francisco 49ers. Tom Brady still threw 4 touchdown passes, the AFC Offensive Player of the Week for his homecoming performance in the Bay Area. But Rob Gronkowski is somebody, I think, Ryan, and there's going to be a lot of debate about this that the Patriots need to learn from what happened last year at the end of the season. They don't want to rush Rob Gronkowski back. Do you think that the Patriots can sit him not only against the Jets, but maybe against the Rams on December 4th and then bring him back against the Ravens?
It's possible. I mean, I think your point's a good one that they do need to be cautious with him. And I think there's a little bit of difference between now and last year that this is the end of November and early December and not, week 17 against the Dolphins where you're resting guys with the playoffs around the corner. You can still set out this game and, like you said, next week against the Rams and still have, 4 or 5 games before the playoffs begins to sort of get back into things. So I think it's a little different in that case, but I think overall you have to look at the health of the Patriots. I think everyone's talking about the defense, but I think maybe more importantly is going to the playoffs, they need to be completely healthy and have all their guys completely healthy, with Gronkowski being the number one guy, I think. So I think when you look at the future and the rest of the year for the Patriots, I think health is the biggest issue, and I think maybe holding out Gronkowski this week and maybe next week is the right move.
Speaking of Gronkowski, who has had back injuries in the past, Chris Hogan has a back issue. He did not travel to San Francisco. We asked Belichick last Friday about that, and he said, when we make a long cross-country trek like we did to the Bay Area, it's certainly not good for a back type of injury where it can stiffen up on a flight to and from. Chris Hogan, will he play this weekend, do you think?
tough to tell right now. Obviously, we haven't been out to practice yet, but I think going back to the Seattle game where he played through the back injury, he was definitely limited by it, and he probably had his worst game of the season, probably because of that back, trying to battle through it. And I think maybe they can get away with it again, where we saw Malcolm Mitchell emerge last week as being the Patriots' leading receiver in the game, so he took away some of Hogan's snaps and did a good job. So I think it's another case of maybe not needing to rush Hogan back, but again, you're facing a pretty tough Jets defense that is much better than the 49ers defense, so maybe you do need a guy like Chris Hogan against them.
All right, moving on to the opposition, the New York Jets. Darrelle Revis, our Chris Price, asked Bill Belichick point blank this morning, on Wednesday morning, what he thought of Darrelle Revis' play. And Bill Belichick had a coy answer. We never underestimate, and I will never underestimate that player, meaning Darrelle Revis. He's always going to be competitive, and all you have to do is look back at last year and how he played against the Patriots with a key interception and some good defense. That's his way of saying, look, Darrelle Revis is not the coverage corner. He's not Revis Island anymore, but he is still smart enough to make big plays. What do you see from Darrelle Revis, and how will the Patriots go about attacking him?
Yeah, I kind of saw I took the same answer as you did, where he was asked about Revis' play this year, but then alluded to the Patriots game against the Jets last year. So I think it was his way of saying, yes, he's not the same player, but again, he can make big plays when he needs to. As for how the Patriots attack him, I think maybe they do like other teams have this year and go after him and test him, see what he's made out of. And maybe this is a different week for Revis, that he gets, amped up to play his former team and go against Tom Brady. But I think you have to test him right away and see what he's made out of, because, other teams this year have taken full advantage of, so why can't the Patriots do the same?
The one thing that you really cannot do against the Jets, or do it very well, is run the ball. They are fourth in the NFL in run defense, allowing 85.9 yards per game. They are a good run defense, but you can pass it against them. You mentioned Darrelle Revis is not Revis Island anymore, and I think this could be another big day for Tom Brady.
Yeah, I think anytime you face the Jets, you sort of know you're going up against a tough run defense, and it comes down to Tom Brady. But I think it's also worth mentioning that he's had some trouble down there, especially in New York against the Jets. The Jets seem to always give him fits, even back when Rex Ryan was there. I think looking up, the past 6 meetings between the two teams have been decided by less than 7 points. So for people who think this game, isn't really much of a game and the Patriots are going to run away with it, that's really probably not going to be the case. This could be a grinded-out game, and maybe it comes down to a play in the fourth quarter. So I think people that might be taking this game for granted, you can't really do that.
All right, we have not spoken since Jabal Sheard was benched and Alan Branch faces a 4-game suspension for drug use violation of NFL drug policy. So, question to you is, there has been so much speculation around this team regarding its defense and what's going on in that locker room, and neither one of us or Chris are in those team meetings. But do you get the sense at all that there are some players on the defensive side of the ball doubting how things are being handled?
It's hard to say. It's a complicated subject with a lot of layers. I think the thing that stands out to me most is these guys in contract years, that maybe the Patriots not extending them is going against the Patriots. I mean, a lot of times when guys are in contract years, you expect them to have their best seasons, and clearly that's not been the case with a lot of guys such as Jabal Sheard, Logan Ryan, Jamie Collins before he was shipped out, not having the greatest year. So maybe they're sort of looking at it as almost like a slap in the face, where you have all this money available and you already invested 3 and 4 years in these guys, and they're not extending them out right now. So I think maybe in that sense it's working against the Patriots. As for the locker room, I don't think that's the case. I think these guys are professionals, and that's not there. But I think there is a little bit of something to these guys maybe being a little bit upset with their contracts.
You and me were on the coordinators conference call on Tuesday. You heard Matt Patricia asked by CSN and he's Tom Curran. Is there any introspection? Does some of this fall at your feet for not getting the best out of some of these players in contract years on the defensive side of the ball? He was defensive.
Yeah, he was. I think that was the last week and this week were probably the first time in his tenure as defensive coordinator that he's sort of been challenged on his 10-minute meetings with the media, and I guess, he didn't like the questions, and it's really the first time we've seen that side of him. I know you wrote a pretty good column on the website about that, and you felt pretty strongly about him, and I think that, yeah, you're right on.
Well, now the Patriots get ready for some Thanksgiving feasting of their own. They'll do that on Thursday, and Bill Belichick, I thought, had one of the lines of the day when he wasn't making fun of butt fumble questions. He said, football is a great holiday. Indeed it is. He loves Thanksgiving. He loves football. He'll be watching Bob Quinn, whose Detroit Lions play on Thursday in their annual traditional game. So that'll be interesting as well. I believe they play the Minnesota Vikings. Right. And certainly it'll be a fun day filled with high school football, filled with college football, and obviously the 3 NFL games. What is your favorite part of Thanksgiving, Ryan?
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I'm not a big Thanksgiving food guy. I hate.
Actually, I think you did.
I hate Thanksgiving food. I know I'm in the minority, but I'm not a fan. I will be having my macaroni and cheese.
Boo, boo, hiss. And so you didn't have a big issue with the butt fumble question because, ironically, that obviously happened on Thanksgiving night a couple of years ago down at the Meadowlands. Belichick said, we're not going to be watching tape of that game. Did you have a problem with the question?
No, not at all. I think it was a lighthearted question. I think Belichick's sort of sarcastic response at the end, I think, showed that he kind of thought it was a little funny, too. I mean, he didn't really have to add that second part. He paused for 3 or 4 seconds and then added it, sarcastically. But I think it was him showing that he is human, too, and he does think some of this stuff is funny.
Awesome question. That was Bill's response. Yeah. Awesome question. Well, anyway, we'll have complete team coverage. WEEI, Ryan Hannable, Christopher Price, of course, and yours truly, all down at MetLife Stadium on Sunday afternoon for the 4:25 game, the game that was flexed out of Sunday Night Football. It'll be the 8-2 New England Patriots with a 2-game lead on the Miami Dolphins in the AFC East, taking on the 3-7 New York Jets coming off a bye. We'll have complete coverage on the It Is What It Is blog on WEEI.com. Inside Gillette Stadium, he's Ryan Hannable. I'm Mike Petraglia, WEEI.com.